Good day everyone. So I am Sarili Balukan, and for today's video we are going to talk about myths concerning bilinguals and bilingualism. And my first myth states that bilinguals acquire all their languages in childhood. But I disagree because the opportunity of learning or the opportunity of acquiring the second language or another languages is given to all ages. It depends on how or when we are exposed to that language. Or should I say it depends on how we were adapted to that language, on how we fully learned its structures, its forms, its items, and even all the patterns of that certain language. However, most bilinguals begin their journey during childhood, and it also depends on how they were exposed to do it, or it depends on the necessity of learning that second language, because there are some people who learn their second language or who learn that specific language because it is required or it is a necessity for them to learn. For example, they need to learn that specific language for communication. And on the other hand, there are also cases where a child become a bilingual because their exposure to different environment have different major languages also. For example, our first language or your first language is different from your home language. So, for example, we speak this specific language, but in our home, we have a different language preference. Or there are also cases where our first language is different from the school language. So, we originally speak this language, but our school also has a language preference. And there are also cases where our first language is different from our community language. That's why we are forced to learn or to acquire that language in order for us to communicate properly with different people and with the different environment that we are exposed to. That's why I disagree to this myth that states bilinguals acquire all their languages in childhood, because it depends on how or when we are exposed to that specific language and not only in childhood. So my second myth states that bilingual children will have academic problems. And again, I disagree because it is very obvious that being a bilingual, being exposed to two languages will not cause problem to our academic performance. In fact, it improves a lot to our academic performance because it will enhance or it will increase our vocabulary. So we will be able to look for a meaning of that specific word to the two languages that we are exposed to. And second, it will improve or it will enhance and develop our cognitive skills. So our way of thinking or our way of expressing ideas, our opinions, our judgment, our thoughts can be expressed according to the two languages that we have acquired. And also it will help us into problem solving, where we can look or we can address situations or problems with different solutions because we are exposed to two languages. So does multitasking. However, some people says that bilingual people tends to mix up their words or their vocabulary according to the two languages that they have acquired. But I disagree also because our vocabulary will stop when we have fully acquired and understood the background of the language that we are learning. And we will not be able to mix up those words if fluent we are fluent to that second language. And since only then we are considered as bilingual when we can fluently speak and understood the second language that we are learning.